I got a pretty good lean in mine. Look at
Let's go. We are in a different spot at Lake Cliff today.
Well, I mean, like, we keep saying it, like, we get to bounce around. This is kind of our new playground, isn't it?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I know. Look at the beautiful clay court.
I mean, I keep gushing about them because they're so damn nice.
They're so pretty.
Like I said to you before too, Michelle, the hard true, and that's that green clay, nothing wrong with it. The upkeep for these, this is why you don't see them. To be perfectly honest, it can be pricey to put these in and upkeep them. And
okay.
And so, but once you have them in this good a shape, as long as we keep them that way, man. You want to go play set real quick?
Let's go play. Y'all want to come play?
I just keep staring at it
I
like I
like
want
it.
to play.
I
Well,
know,
we just did a kick-ass drill, I thought.
We did. It was
Yeah.
so great.
I know.
I know.
So, I mean, if they know out there, obviously I'm transitioning to coaching here at Lake Cliff. So that was my first 4-0 clinic with you guys out here.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
It was so great.
Yeah, we had 6 or 7 peeps. And
Yeah. It was good.
I know.
I good. Look at the sweat.
You kick some ass. I
Thank
haven't had you
you.
in a drill in a long time.
I know, it's been a while.
You know what I mean?
have those few like quirky athletic shots,
No doubt.
and then I have the terrible shots.
No.
So
You're
yeah.
gonna have to teach me. Can I? Well, I got my racket around. No, I don't.
I got mine.
Do you?
I got
I got you. I got you.
I almost died.
No, we're good.
Okay.
It's called teamwork right there.
Yeah, good
You
job.
have some sort of ability to do a half volley lob thing. I've seen it more than once.
But I can't. But it's behind my back.
I know how you do it.
And I don't see it. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't miss it, really.
I know. Yeah. No.
So, anyways, I wanted to tell
I
you
don't
that
think
was.
you can teach that because it's not. It's terrible form.
If you
But,
got-
but people don't know. They don't expect it.
I wouldn't say it's terrible. It's innovative
Thank
because.
you. It's innovative.
Well, good improv skills, and sometimes we have to do that in our sport, right? We find ourselves not in the right place, didn't see it coming,
Right.
Didn't split step, didn't do the things that we all know we should do sometimes. And so I think it was like good, just kind of salvage. You get yourself.
It's the only thing I can do if it's gone. And plus I don't have the traditional. Like I didn't grow up playing.
Well.
So maybe my anticipation isn't as good.
I don't know about-
Well.
I don't know about that.
No, thank you.
Because you're a very athletic human being. Period. God
Thank
given.
you.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean it is what it is, and.
Turning it down. Keep going.
Yeah, no, so those reactions you said earlier, those athletic reactions, you have that. So I don't know. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because you're in the midst of a pretty exclusive overhaul on giving you traditional, more quote unquote traditional strokes, right?
Yes, that you're taking me through, and we talked about that
Yeah.
because I progressed very quickly. You know, double bump 3-0 to 4-0.
Yeah, oh,
Boom.
that's good.
With
I didn't
a
know that, really.
yeah.
Skipped right over 3.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was scary
That's
as hell. It was like, what?
Yeah,
Because
but-
I'm like, oh, I hope I bump up to 3.5. And then I got double bumped. and I didn't know any 4-0s. And
Yeah.
so it was awful because I couldn't get on a team.
Well, you know, that's an interesting point, because usually you take, and sometimes it takes a minute to get up each level, and you meet your new peer group that is a 3.5 now, and you hang with them, and you play
Right.
other ones that maybe used to be 4.0s and get accustomed. And then, quite honestly, you got to get like some street cred, right? Like some
Yes.
credibility that you're being there. So I can understand that's an interesting place to be in. Like these probably bona fide 4.0s are going, wasn't she just the 3.0? Not deservingly, right? But that first thought would be like, okay, well.
Yeah, no,
So-
yeah, right. She's gonna lose because she's never played 4-0. That's the assumption people have.
Yeah, assumption's the right word. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're right. They have all their group. They don't need another.
Well-
maybe they do. And so here's what I did, Ryan. Here's
Tell
how
me.
I got on a team. I
me.
knew a gal through golf.
Okay.
She was a captain. I said, "Hey, Nancy, can please." Can you let me on your team? I will
sweet Nancy?
wash your car. Nancy Canfield.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah.
Love her. Love her and
Thank
Smitty.
you. You're so sweet of her.
Yeah.
I said, please, I'll drive to Georgetown and play singles. I'll wash
Yeah.
your car. Whatever you need. Please,
your
give me a chance. And so then, no, it's true. And so then she let me on. She scheduled me up in Round Rock
How about
to play singles.
Yeah.
And then another woman told me, she goes, Michelle, I hope you prove all the naysayers wrong.
Yeah, well, I think you did.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Like, there's a group of them, like there are a group of women that are saying Michelle's gonna lose, and there were a group of women saying Michelle's gonna lose, because that's how it goes.
It is how it goes at the club setting. Lord, we could, and listen, this is probably one of the most relatable things for all the listeners out there is the politicking that goes on at any various clubs, and the courting, if you will, of new potential teammates, right?
Yes.
That respect that has to be earned. We were just talking about it off air.
Yeah.
You have to earn respect to get the attention, and I get that to a degree, but what a precarious or interesting spot to be in from 3-0 to 4-0.
Yes.
And having to gain that.
Yeah. And to be fair, I also had a reputation of being nice. And I think Nancy, like, there's women that value that. They're
Sure.
like, Michelle's athletic and she's nice, so she'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And I did, and I won that first singles
You won that?
match.
You
I
won
won.
it? Oh, that's great.
I did prove all those naysayers wrong.
Well-
but I was so nervous,
Sure.
and I felt extra pressure because if I'd lost that first match, then guess what? I didn't belong at 4-0. I didn't know myself if I belonged to 4-0.
Yeah.
Right?
Well-
Because I'd never played a 4-0.
You got bumped for a reason, though. You got double bumped
Yes.
for a reason. So, but it's a whole new level. Like anything else, you got to get your feet wet and wrap your brain around this extra level of competition or whatever whatever comes with that, right?
Yeah.
But gaining, it's again, we could talk about this for many episodes. You know how all that works and how you find a home, and sometimes you have trouble finding a home or a home team for various reasons. I just went through something like that last weekend, believe it or not.
You did.
I did. So
Let's hear about it.
Right. So
Okay.
Michelle, we have 4 beautiful children.
Yes, you do.
They're 11 to 5. We're right in busy times, right?
Oh,
it's
gosh.
feels like it's flying by, to be honest. I can't believe my son's going to be 12. Dino.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
doing some serves the other day. But anyways, I haven't, between working and a fabulously busy home life, I haven't actually had time to play on a team myself. And a lot of us teaching pros do. We'll play in a team as well.
Okay.
Right? And play on a UST league. And so I was invited to be on a very competitive men's 4-5 team that went to nationals a couple years ago.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
I know. I'm
Oh,
excited.
that's so fun.
Right. And so, I hadn't played in UST in a long time. I was able to get in and self-rated 4-5. And I show up to my first scrimmage to meet my team. I hadn't met anybody yet, right? I knew one guy that invited me on the team. He's another one of our buddies in Lakeway. And so I had not met any of the guys. Quite honestly, I'd worked for 5 hours and then just went out there for a scrimmage at 2 last Sunday.
Yeah.
Anybody in Central Texas knows that there's a 71% chance the wind is gusting at 39 knots, right?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is, but fast.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Many knots.
Yeah.
But so it was gusting, Michelle. It
Yeah.
was super duper windy.
Yeah.
Long story short, he says, my team captain says, look, I thought I was going to show up and play some competitive old man doubles. That's what I thought I was going to play.
Yeah.
And he says, look, we, and back to your point, not only is this a scrimmage, but it's my first time meeting these guys, and everybody's anxious to prove that you're worthy of being there and want to make a good showing, right?
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
And he says to me, we really need singles players.
All teams.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And he wasted no time. He's like, great to meet you. Glad to have you. So singles.
You're like, oh, okay.
I'm like, damn
All
it.
right.
Okay, I can do this, right?
Yeah.
I'll be 40 in March. I know I'm still. I got time before I start feeling my buddy starts feeling
young.
like
It's not good. Yeah.
But I'm not 20, and he says to me, I'm going to have you play this young man that played top 3 for Lake Travis High, which, by the way, any of you listening out there, all of you listening out there, Lake Travis High, which is the high school right where we live, top 5 in the state every year, not just tennis, but
in
every
everything.
sport. They're top
Synchronized swimming.
Straight
They're
up.
number 1. Yeah.
Easy.
Easy. I mean,
Darts, they are top 5.
it's true.
Anyways,
Yeah.
So I'm really building suspense on this one, but he says, I want you to play singles, and you're going to play this 21-year-old young man that is currently playing Division II college tennis.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and he's home for the break, and he was a big reason why we went to nationals a few years ago. I would have you play him 2 sets. Okay.
This kind of sounds like, last week we were talking
Yeah.
that when you went to college and you play
Same thing.
same thing,
Very
right? They're
similar
like,
thing.
here's the number one guy, except this time you knew
Yeah.
he was the number one guy.
And so excellent. Yeah. And what were we talking about last week? It was match prep, right? And being able to be in the right headspace. And,
Yeah.
And if I would have known, as I've already said, who the hell knows? It could have been a very different outcome. So now I know. Now I meet this big 6'4" strapping young man.
He's 6'4"?
Oh, easy. Every bit of it. Huge serve.
Whoa.
Right. I lose the first set 6-1
You did.
pretty quickly.
You did.
Yeah. Now I hadn't, and no excuses, but I hadn't played
Yeah.
a competitive singles match, Michelle, in I can't tell you how long. A long time.
Long time.
And not
We
just
hear
from
ya.
the fitness standpoint of physically. My first thought was, I hope I have enough to take the 2 sets, right?
No, we hear you, man. Singles is tough.
And playing a young man who's playing in college still, right? And so I lose 6-1. I was figuring it out a little bit. It wasn't a horribly, as we all say, lopsided 6-1, but it was nonetheless 6-1. And I really had to try to take my own advice, be in the moment, don't get
rattled.
Exactly. Don't
Yep.
focus on what I can control. And clearly what I had the only thing I probably could really point to having over him was wisdom, or just being on the planet longer, right? On the court more times.
No, that's true.
And so
you started to lob.
basically, I just started calling lines out. No. If you can't beat him, cheat him. That's my advice today, guys. No, horrible.
Yeah.
But no, I started to figure him out a little bit, and started to figure out what I could, my
good
little
for you.
wrinkles and whatnot. I got the second set 6-4. I won the second set.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't. Now what was racing through my mind at down 1-3, down 1-4, down 1-5
Sure.
is just that. Like, okay. I'm a teaching pro. He's asked me to be on this team. I'm gonna go show him a 6-1, 6-0, and anxious to prove that.
Sure.
And so I can relate 110%. I ended up losing. We played a third set tiebreak. Thank God. I ended up losing 10-8 in the third set tiebreak.
Oh.
Almost got him.
Oh.
But I can tell you this, Michelle,
Yeah.
and y'all out there, I've never been so happy to have lost. I've never had such a happy
Been
loss.
so close.
I've never had such a happy loss.
That's funny.
Like, I was able to basically go, okay, I got to set off this young man.
Yeah.
My team captain, he appeared to be pretty happy with the results. But, man,
That's
I do
awesome.
this for a living.
Yeah.
I tell other people how to handle this situation all the time, and yet here I found myself dealing with trying to manage those same feelings.
Sure. I love that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I had fun too.
That's well, I think we all relate to that because
Yep.
there's some matches
Yep.
where I lose, but I know I should have won, and then I'm mad at myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should have won that.
Right.
But there's some matches where like, oh, you know what? That was just a great competition.
It sure was.
I lost. It was really close, but you know what? I played my best, and you can come away from those matches feeling good.
Yeah.
You know.
You have, Michelle, you must be able to take away positives. Now, listen, you get smoked up 0-1, whatever. Things didn't work out for you that day. They were just on whatever. I tell my juniors often, those are the easy ones to get past.
Oh, sure.
Nobody wants to lose that bad, but you can go like,
yeah.
what the hell with it? Like,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna win
my
that.
day.
Yeah.
But
Sandbagger.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
must take something away from some of those close losses. I really believe that.
Agreed.
Try to find something positive in there and build upon that. Here's the truth. There's so much losing in our sport. You can, as we said, you can lose
I
more
know.
points than you win. Have you won yet? Have you played another match?
No.
Okay, good. Well,
I won drill.
Yeah, kick some ass
Can you
today.
win? Yeah, thank you.
You sure did.
No.
Well,
yeah.
you won the last point on the.
Does that
when
count?
they're coming back today. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you won the last point of the day, I think that.
That counts.
That's
That
it.
one. Okay.
You had to win today.
Okay.
We reversed your streak.
My streak.
No, but we got to take something. There's so much losing. There's. It's not a team sport. There's not. Let's just use
Right.
baseball for example. 9 guys take the field. 9 guys bat. 9 guys go home happy, 9 don't.
Right,
That's 50-50.
right.
You enter a tournament, there's 1 or 2 winners if you're playing doubles.
That's
And
a
that
great
is absolutely
point.
it.
That's a really good point. Such a
Everybody else
small-
loses.
Yeah. That's
Sorry.
makes me not feel so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm good company.
But it
All
has
the
to,
losers. Yeah.
It also has to be. It's wonderful for shaping your mind, strengthening your mind as well,
Mm-hmm.
and which, as we all know, it's. I had to go out there and go, okay, this kid's 21. He's in the throes. He's a junior in college.
Sure.
He's obviously physically
Yeah.
younger. He's got all those things over me right now.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I had to be able to find a way here to not get ahead of myself, old man him a little bit, slice and dice,
Sure.
not let him find too much rhythm. And I'm also left-handed, which oftentimes comes into play because nobody plays lefties.
Right.
We don't play.
That's
I
true.
don't like playing them.
Yeah.
So that's a different look and a different feel.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, I had to tell myself this too. He's got more to lose than me.
Right.
Because the last thing he wants to do is shuffle over and tell the team captain that this 40-year-old dude just beat him.
Twice his age.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, a very, very nice young man.
Oh, well, that's
Wonderful.
makes a big difference.
Wonderful competitor, and I'll be happy to call him a teammate and not have to play him.
That's
much
good.
anymore.
That's the beauty of that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know how those things feel.
Yeah. I played against a 20-something-year-old in a tournament, and it was very competitive. But,
Yeah.
she was half my age and like half my size, this little teeny thing with these little teeny shorts on.
Oh, yeah.
So we're switching over. She goes, hey, do you want some of my gummy worms?
Oh, God.
I'm like, you know what sugar's in those, young woman?
That will raise your blood pressure later in life.
I know. It's so funny. The thought processes are so different as you get into your 40s
Oh, my
versus
God.
20-something. I'm like,
Well-
oh, I would like one of your gummy worms, but I'm not. Because I'll crash.
bad for my blood sugar.
It's bad for my blood sugar, young woman. Yeah.
Well, I will say this to you, Michelle.
Yep.
I have my legs. Okay, I'm going to tell you, mid to lower back, abdominals down.
Yes.
I could barely move for 2 full days. Not a joke.
That makes me feel happy.
Holy crap.
That you're human.
Michelle,
Because we've all been there.
of course.
Yeah.
But I can't recall being that sore.
Really?
Oh, my wife was making fun of me for a couple of days. So she's like, I know where you're at in the house because I'll just randomly hear like I just looked at the stairs in our house with disdain.
Welcome to 40, man.
Oh, man, I'm serious. I felt it.
Yeah.
And just like a random pain that would shoot down your leg. Anyways, it was
I
a
love
blast.
it. I love it.
It was a blast. I'm
That's so
looking forward to
fun.
competing this year.
Oh, that I want to come watch.
Please do.
I think it'd be so fun.
Hey, will you record me playing? Maybe we'll put it on.
That'd be super fun.
We can put it on.
Love to.
YouTube, yeah.
Let's do it.
That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna put that head cam on you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just load me up. Give me the chest cam. I'll look really cool out there.
It's so fun. I love it. Well, something I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I hate to change the subject,
stop
but
it.
I'm really excited.
You should be.
About my brand new, beautiful
Dude.
Wilson Clash Custom.
Dude.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's here.
I know.
We talked about it, I think, right before Christmas, saying you were going to get it, or should have got it. Man, Michelle.
Isn't it pretty?
I mean, can I see it? just for a
Yeah.
moment?
Well, yeah. Why would you to string it?
Well, I'm
Make
gonna
it.
definitely string it.
So this is gonna be my
But,
year, 2020. I'm gonna win.
You got to pick these colors, huh?
Got to pick the colors.
And tell me a little bit more. Right? Oh, and I don't know if we can all see that, but addicted.
It says addicted
right
on it.
there. I think our motto is kind of like get addicted, right? I mean,
Yeah, get addicted. Absolutely.
that's what it kind of is.
I love it.
First off, the Clash is Wilson's newest model.
Yes.
That they've been, they're hardly ever not successful, but very successful. And I love it. I personally believe that this was Wilson, the Babolat Pure Drive, much you out there play with it, I guarantee it, has been the most popular, most sold racket on the planet since Roddick brought it on the map and made it. Nobody had seen Babolat rackets before Roddick.
Oh.
He was the first to bring out. They were the very first stringing. Babolat was the very first company to ever produce strings ever.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. But I think this is their answer to that, and it's a fabulous racket. And you got to pick out the custom colors. So there's only one of these.
There's only one of those.
There's only one of these.
I am so excited. So thank
And-
you so much, Wilson,
Yeah.
for partnering with me on this to make it happen. And like I said, anybody can do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what a cool partnership. I mean, Wilson,
Yeah.
I've been they're They're not telling me to say this or giving me anything. I've been a fan of Wilson. That's what I've basically only played with.
That's what you use on the court.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And a version of this one, the blade right here. But I'm ridiculously amped for you.
Thank
It's
you.
gorgeous.
Well, like I said, fill it with beautiful strings.
sure will.
And then I'm going to win.
That's right. I'll make sure.
I got no excuses.
I'll make sure the strings are ones that hit the ball in the court. They make sure they go in.
Sounds good. Make sure it's perfect for this shot.
Oh, yeah.
my upside down windshield wiper behind the back shot.
You need to patent that. That's your shot.
It's my shot.
I'm serious.
I do.
It's like a. I'll shut up about it after this, but it's like a half volley lob. Like a half volley lob. You're able to do it.
But yeah, backward. Why I'm facing to the back of the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's when a ball's gotten past you and you have and it's a good, just last second ditch effort to
Just
keep that
boom.
in play.
Yeah.
But,
I love it.
anyhow,
I'm checking this. Yep.
I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
Gorgeous record right there.
Thank you. I'm super thrilled. So, and yesterday, I don't know if you know this.
Tell me.
Was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So this is a Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday present. So,
It was your birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It sucks that you weren't feeling
I know.
as great as you could.
I've had
in
the
the
sinus
holidays.
infection, like the month-long sinus infection, but that's okay.
Happens around here.
Yeah, it's life. I'm human.
No doubt about
Dang it. So. Okay.
Can I say one more thing
Of course.
before we dive into today's
yes,
topic?
please do.
It's official. I know we've talked it up a little bit, but
Yes.
this coming Wednesday,
Ooh, so
we'll
excited.
be sitting right here with you guys. But also with us will be the one and only Cliff Drysdale.
I know.
I know.
I'm gonna be cool. I'm not gonna lose it.
And so we're
I'm not
talking
gonna
about.
be totally. I'm not gonna geek out. Go ahead.
I mean, no, understandably. I told you this morning, for what we're doing, this platform, tennis, and of course, podcasting and talking about the sport on air,
Yeah.
we could not handpick a better one a better person that is a Hall of Famer in both those regards, tennis and broadcasting.
Right.
To sit right here next to us. And hear and listen to and learn from, and I'm just ridiculous.
Admire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I told you too earlier, half of this for me, just being such a tennis nut myself, is
Yeah.
I just want to, I'm going to have to remember that I'm actually still co-hosting a podcast and not just listen. I'm just a fan.
I know. Me too.
And so to hear even the little bit we're going to be able to have the great fortune of having him share with us, from whether that be, he's called every one of the most iconic matches of the last 25 years on ESPN.
Oh my gosh.
And, from here.
And like was the first tennis commentator for
the
ESPN.
Very
the very
tennis
first.
commentator for ESPN. Also the very first ATP president.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Also the first guy to hit a two-handed backhand. I mean, the iconic, well, anyways.
Yeah, it's so iconic. So anyway, we're gonna not geek out. We're
That's
gonna
right.
be very cool.
That's right.
Yeah. We promise.
I'm gonna bring a little something for our coffee.
I know. We're gonna need something. Okay,
okay.
we're not. It's gonna be cool.
No, I can't. Well,
I'm not
anyways,
worried.
that is it's such an insanely cool thing that we're gonna get to do this week.
I'm so excited.
I'm
So
pumped.
high five.
I know.
Woo.
I know.
Yeah.
First of many, hopefully.
First, yeah. I love it.
What do you want to talk about today?
What I'd love to talk about, Ryan, is, so we started this saying how, so that I progressed quickly
Yes.
at tennis with really no form. I started when I was 40. So, and I just turned, I'll just tell you, I just turned 47. And so it just kind of like, let me try this tennis thing as a rookie. Right. And so, but I played racquetball growing up. So I would naturally have a racquetball swing, which does not work for tennis.
Sure, it can work.
It can work.
Not sustainable.
Not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I just kind of made up shit. Like I had a two-handed forehand. I have a one-handed backhand. I played volleyball, so I'd spike the ball.
Yeah.
Like I have no backhand volley. I just kind of tried to make it into everything into a forehand.
Yes. That's the here in Central Texas we call that an Aggie backhand.
My
right?
Aggie, yeah, I did that some today. But by morphing into this weird game, I actually won a lot.
Yeah.
And so I got double bumped, which doesn't happen very often. I was like, hey, this weird form that I have seems to be working. But getting into 4-0, and I'm pretty successful at 4-0. But
Definitely.
I've definitely hit a plateau. Like at my current game, people that come with traditional form that played since they were young, they beat me. And so I'm like, hey, I need to change some things, Ryan. Let's I have and I'd been playing for 5 years with this weird monkey form. Let's work on some top spin. Let's work on
Traditional.
actual becoming a tennis player.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
let me start by saying that
Yeah.
you are not your strokes, right?
Yeah.
Who you are as a player is not your strokes. So let me correct you and say you've been the epitome of a tennis player. You just didn't have the traditional strokes, like you said, from either a kid or learning right off the bat and kind of just figuring it out on your own.
Just figured it out.
So
yeah.
that by definition, you were doing you were playing tennis. There's no way you get up to where you're doing. You just didn't have, again, the traditional yet form, right?
Right.
And we're able
Right.
to use your athletics or your athleticism and your instincts to figure it out.
Figure it out. Get
And
the ball
so,
back and keep it in.
Hats
in
off
the
to you,
lines.
first off, for making it that far on, quote unquote, I mean, basically your
you.
own when it came to form and technique.
Right.
And I say this all the time, every day, all the time. Again, you are not defined by if you were able to go teach your arm the perfect technique. Now, is it, to your point, that can only take you so far? Is it, is there, and people often hit that, I shouldn't say wall, but they're confronted with that. And I would say the vast majority, but the majority of people are okay with polishing their game and not taking it all the way down to the ground and going, hey, we're starting you from scratch. You can still play that way.
Right.
Right, but on the
Right.
side with you and I working, we're going to teach you, we're going to deconstruct that old muscle memory, and we're
Right.
going to reconstruct and build new muscle memory.
Right.
So that you can achieve long-term, get further than what you had, kind of that wall you know she hit. So again, hats off to you for saying, I'm willing to put in the 6 months of work, if not longer, and be in this purgatory a little bit, in this flux, in the meanwhile, because that's what happens. People are going, well, I have a season to play. Like, I don't want to break it all the way down.
Exactly.
And
exactly. It's because you get worse when you're making these changes. I'm not as consistent. And so let's talk about that today.
Sure.
Your advice as a pro is,
Yep.
and for the listeners out there, if there's something like in the new year, you want to change, you have all this muscle memory.
Yeah.
How do you go about changing something? What's your advice on
So,
that? Yeah.
number one is commitment. Not in match play, y'all. Not when you're out there and it counts. You have to turn a score in. That's not the time to be thinking about things. And I'm always careful to tell you guys, especially when you're making a significant change, that don't go be thinking about this in your match tomorrow. Right? This is
Right.
this is a me and you thing that we're working, and then we will at the right time and when you're confident enough, insert that into your match play, because that's the final step.
Sure.
First step is you feel it when we're either feeding balls to you or in a private lesson.
Okay.
That's stage one, when the muscle memory starts to take on even a semi-consistent basis, let's say for 30 minutes of your hour lesson. Right?
Okay, yeah,
And then for the most part, you're able to fight that old muscle memory and continue to focus on doing whatever that change is, right? To making
Sure.
that physical change.
Sure.
But here's the progression, Michelle. So you'll feel it first, like we said, in a private lesson, a feeding situation. Next, in live ball or point play, what we did this morning.
Right.
It was doubles points.
Yes.
Or singles, of course. And then ultimately, the last stage when it takes is in match play. Because how many times have we said this too? God, I was playing great in practice yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go on the match and we're like, what the hell? Where'd that go? I had it. Right? I thought I had it. I thought I had it.
Right.
And so back to what I said is, so it's a daily or however many times you're on the court per week, it's a commitment, an unwavering commitment, because it's easy to scrap and go, well, that didn't work. I'm going back to what I do. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so-
because it's successful.
And it feels
sure.
right.
It feels right.
Even
right.
though it's not.
It's that muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the human body gravitates towards comfort.
Sure.
We are dying to, and I shouldn't say we, because it's its own thing. If I've learned anything after teaching human movements for 20 years, you're not your body. It's its own thing, 110%. So it'll just
so interesting.
Yeah, so you fight your own body. That's really what's going on.
Wow.
Because it is dying to go back to what feels right.
Sure.
And you have to, here's a good example. So let's talk about one of the most common changes, and I want to use this one. The frying pan volley. Right?
Yeah.
This was super cool.
We know that one. Yep.
And I'm going to try to make sure I get this on camera, but the continental grip is the proper volley grip.
Yes.
Right? This one, especially if you didn't have much instruction early on or whatever, even if you did, I see it a lot. It makes sense because you're going, well, I'm just going to volley that right in the court, right? My strings are facing the court.
Sure.
Problem is we can't turn.
Right.
And this facing y'all, and we should turn for each and every stroke.
Right.
We turn.
Okay.
This encourages a lot of downward action and net airs. So you'll see people with the frying pan grip playing like literally hanging over the net.
Right.
Because they're tired of making net airs, and that was the adjustment they made. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so we talk about adjusting over to this continental grip, and I see it all the time. People will have it, and like, okay, I got it, Ryan. And by the time I fed the ball and they hit it, they've switched it and they didn't even know it. And I'll go look down. They're like, damn it. Right.
I've done that. Yeah.
And so your hands will just switch it for you. And it's usually left hand's fault. I see it for right-handed people. Like you got it, and then but when I feed it, switch. It goes. So it wants to go back. The body wants to go back to what feels comfortable, what feels right, even if it's not right.
Right. It's so frustrating. You're right. We're fighting our own bodies on that. Yeah.
So that number one, it's that daily commitment, or however many times you're on the court until you get there. So it's there's a serious level of discipline that has to come with it, because again, you're not with coach. You're not. We're obviously going to be on top of you. Hey, change your grip back. Right. We're gonna make you do it. But when you're out there playing with friends, and all of a sudden, again, this new thing you're trying isn't working out, you run from it. So unless it's a real match, I say commit, right? Unless it's a major change,
right?
Or you're just spraying balls and nobody's getting balls in the court, or nobody's playing because you feel like, damn it, I'm the one spraying. So So commitment is number one. Be disciplined in it. And know that there's only one guarantee in our sport. If you keep at it, you'll get there.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
There's very few guarantees, and that's one of them.
Well, so that was going to be one of my questions is how much, because we'll do a drill, and then how much do you recommend practicing outside of that with another player? Like, so if you teach me the technique, and then Joe and I will go hit and we'll try, but sometimes I feel like if you're not there watching, then I'm not correcting correctly. Right? So what's your advice on that?
You'll reach an important step with especially, like, we'll use an example, because we literally are taking that, the two-handed backhand slice thing you had, and or one-handed backhand slice, and we're literally, and you wanted it. And I told you first, patience.
I wanted it.
Be patient.
I wanted it. When you can feel the difference between the old way and the new way, even if you don't have it down yet, but you know what the difference is, that's a pretty important milestone in your journey to make a change. Okay. Because even though you can't execute it right every time, and who does? Nothing changes overnight. Right.
You at least can go, okay, I know that it felt right, even though it didn't go in. And I know the difference between the old normal and the new normal.
Right.
So once that happens, and you go, okay. And I call them light bulb days. Like, okay, you had a light bulb day. Like, clicked. Oh, okay, I know the difference now.
Right.
Instead of just, hey, Ryan, I have no idea. Was I doing it right or wasn't I?
Right.
And so that awareness is huge. But that's why you got us too. If the sport was easy, I'd be out of a job, right? I mean, it is a tough sport. And going back and we're going back and forth between that old muscle memory and that new, and fighting your own body. But continuing to do it, and of course have your pro. If you guys have asked me, you and Joe have said, hey, can I record it so that I know when I'm not with you? So you guys
we have done that.
You guys are techies. You guys are
techie nerds, but it's so easy on your phone. Like, anybody can do that. Yeah.
And so being able to see, especially if you're a visual learner, being able to see what it's supposed to look like, and then trying to replicate it.
Right.
When I was a kid, Michelle, one of 5, I've talked about my family a bunch. I have 4 siblings.
Yeah, awesome family.
They're pretty cool peeps. And, listen, I've raised 4 right now. I know that, to put 5 kids in private lessons and this and that, that could add up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I was in clinics and stuff and did lessons, but I was such a nerd that I would drive my bike down to the high school practice and just watch them. Because
Really?
I would try to replicate what they were doing.
That's so cool. I love
Fucking
that.
dork.
No, that's so cool.
Yeah, but just watch how they hit.
Sure.
Or anybody that I knew that was a good player, was better than me, or was was a solid player. I just go watch them.
That's a really good point. And it made me think of that in golf. If I watch somebody in golf and I think of that in my mind as a I don't know. It's so funny how your body can be very smart
No
if
doubt.
you trust it, right? If you're like, okay, I see that. Because sometimes it matters so much what I'm focusing on, whether I can execute what you're telling me to do. And you're right. Sometimes focusing on playing like somebody that you're picturing can be the right thing. But it can also be a swing thought, like things like, okay, hit the ball out in front of you, right? And if I just think, okay, and you've given visualizations to me in my new change, like, okay, have this swing thought, and that makes it work. Or another great swing thought has been sweep the dishes off the table.
Right. Clean the table off.
Clean the table off. Oh, I know that. I relate to that. So clean the table off. It's so weird. The clean the table off gives me the right form.
There you go.
So I think it's about focusing on the right thing for your brain to execute that shot. And I think what's hard is then doing that when in competition.
Of course.
Because when I'm having a drill with you and you're like, okay, clean off the table. All right, I'm cleaning off the table. But when it's, 5-2, 30-40, in a match, there's a major I'm thinking, oh, I got to get it. I'm not thinking, oh, clean off the table.
Sure.
Right? So I think that's what's tricky is in those pressure moments to get that new muscle memory ingrained so it comes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so you used an important word there, focus. And I have to advise this more to my kids, my junior players, than adults. Most of us have matured for the most part and are able to lock it in a little bit better. But
Right.
But I'll ask my juniors in particular when we're working on a new thing, and I could tell that as they were running to that ball, they weren't focused on it.
Right.
I already know, and I tell them this too.
You can tell.
Oh yeah. I said, what was your thought process before you took a swing? And I already know the answer because they weren't thinking about it. I can tell.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's super odd, and I tell them that because some of them will be like, well, I said, no, you weren't. I already know the answer.
You're like,
before.
I know.
If I asked you that, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
But you have to have a focus because the body will just do what it's used. If you don't have a focus,
Sure.
it'll just do what it's used to doing.
Right.
What has become instinct.
Right.
And
right.
And that's when you know you've officially arrived with a change, when you don't have to think about it anymore, executing it. It's just in there.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Federer has been quoted as saying he thinks about nothing on the court.
No.
Everything is feel and instinct now.
Wow. Well, I will leave that. Yeah, but even him because we talked about this before when he was playing Nadal. And Nadal would beat him because of his backhand.
It was
right?
that heavy top spin into Fed's one-handed backhand that
Yes.
got him just uncomfortable enough, just enough at the time to find a little weakness in there.
But then Fed had to make a change.
He sure
Even
did.
Fed has to make a change.
No doubt about it.
Right?
Yeah.
So you think about him I can't imagine how many hours he's playing for him to make a muscle memory change. Is it harder or easier than it is for us?
I'd say for the pros because they've have that perfect, proper technique, and it's been there for so long, and they've all been playing since they could walk.
Yeah.
That's the only way their muscles know how to move a racket is the correct way. But making those little fine-tuned changes is a lot more about, they're not going to rework their technique. This is about taking the ball earlier, executing lengthening it, little things that they're going to, using that example, prevent more of the time of that ball kicking up and taking advantage of it.
Sure.
So they're making little fine-tuned tweaks. Now, I will say this: you see, especially people who are pros who are notoriously struggle with the serve. You'll see, like Sharapova's had like 19 different motions, right?
Really?
Oh, I mean, I'm not. That's not an actual number, but I've seen a side by side where they're like, this is her motion last year and this is her motion this year.
Oh, wow.
Because it's been her Achilles heel, her serve.
Sure. Oh, that's really interesting.
The coaches continue to try to rework, and Pat Rafter is an example of a guy who just had an abbreviated motion. He didn't have the normal traditional down and around. He just went straight up.
Oh.
And and a lot of them have the traditional down and around and getting in the back scratch or behind your head.
Sure.
So this worked for after. He just went straight up.
Okay.
No down and around. So there's little things that are different, and you can tweak that are still properly or still proper technique, but kind of customized. As long as they're still hitting all the things they should hit for it to be a proper or a consistent serve they can rely on. There's ways to kind of custom fit or custom make this shot for you. Because we've seen Nadal's forehand doesn't look like Federer's forehand, right?
No,
Not very different.
Very different.
But they still get the right things done for it to be a technically sound shot.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
But they're a little bit different, and like you
Sure.
said, the sweep the table that resonated with you.
Yes.
It's my job to say, I have 20 different analogies for that, right?
Right.
Lengthen out this, that, and the other.
Sure.
Right. But that one resonates with a lot of people. Clean, 2 feet worth of table, slide the dishes off before you pull the racket back towards you, right?
My mom would be proud of that.
Kathy. I wonder how the weather is up in Wyoming.
They're snowmobiling. They're loving it.
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
It's beautiful. It's
See-
cold, but it's beautiful.
You guys' birthday's pretty close to each other.
Me and my
Kathy?
mom. Yes, December 9th. And then my brother's is the 12th.
that right?
Yeah. The big joke is because my dad's a tax accountant that he did poor tax planning with his kids.
Right before.
Yeah. Because we didn't get to write us off, right? If we had been born, 4 days earlier, I'd have been a tax write-off.
That's so
Right,
funny.
yeah. But poor tax planning. I don't think he was thinking tax planning.
Probably not. That was on
Probably
the forefront
not.
of his mind. That's
No.
That's super funny.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
So, the
I have a question for you. So, what if you, Ryan, you want to
Tell me.
make a change to your game? I mean, you haven't played, like you said, you're coming back to playing competitively. You,
Right.
you teach a lot. But when you want to make a change, what do you do? And what incents you to make a change to your game? I mean, because I would assume that at this point, you're good, you're successful, you're probably not making a lot of changes.
Well, it's all relative. I'll answer this question fully after my first couple of matches, and I'll tell you I haven't played many matches in a long while.
in a while.
So that's your compass is what stood up in match play. And I think
Right.
at a certain level, Michelle, when you played, especially as a kid or collegiately, or those of us who have gone into coaching and have made that,
Yeah.
99.9% of us were successful players in our own right, in some level, collegiate or on the tour. And so, again, similar to the pros, but definitely not comparing myself to them, you have that you never had to undo incorrect muscle memory.
Right.
You might pick up little habits here and there, like all of us do.
Sure.
And little, my go-to phrase is we're under constant restoration, right?
Right.
By the time you fix this forehand, hell, you might have picked up a little habit in your serve that you don't know why, right?
Right.
You circle back to that.
Right.
And so there's two different things at play here. There's undoing old, and we'll use an example too. And just so you know, your technique, if it wasn't consistent, it wouldn't have worked. So you were close enough on your own anyways.
Sure.
You figured
Very
things
consistent.
out.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to be consistent with just some random. super hacky. Well, anyways, so there's two things different at play. We'll use you as an example of, hey, we're going to get rid of that old two-handed slice and give you something completely new.
It's totally new and different.
Right. So that is the most challenging, understandably.
It's tough.
But let's say that I noticed after a couple of match plays that, I don't know, I was getting my racket a little bit late back on my return, or I picked up a little hitch here, or something.
Sure.
I would be looking to smooth and clean those things out of my game. So I'm not at a point where I'm going to say, hey, there's nothing new for me to learn as far as technique goes.
Sure.
But I just kind of manage it. I try to manage it and keep it tight and sound.
Right.
And there's, I would say most of our private lessons end up being a lot about that. I could give you a slice, or we could work on a drop shot, or we could work all things we could work on.
Sure.
But when you're overhauling major fundamental technical things like you are, this is the biggest and hardest and most challenging of any change you'll ever make.
Right.
Because you are getting completely rid of a whole way of thinking. Literally, it'd be like, all right, everything you've done this life, in your multiple degrees you have, throw it away, we're starting over. That would be the same thing.
Even though you've been kind of successful with it, with what you got.
Yeah, but you know it'll get you further than what it's
It'll
got
get
you
me
now.
further, and that is what's so hard. Is because
Yeah.
I'm more like, and even today, I have to fully admit. So at this club, it's some relatively new people I've
Yeah.
not played with that much. They don't know me that well, and I'm doing this new technique, and I'm missing some. I'm like, oh God, these people probably think I'm not good, but you have to. I would say when you're doing this, have a safe environment because. And I think could care less. We're all our biggest critics, and we think everybody's looking at us, thinking, "Oh God, she sucks." But you do have that little bit of a voice. Like, I want to show these new people that I'm a good player,
Right.
but I'm not good. I'm not as good. I'll get there once I'm used to it.
For sure.
But I'm, when you hit me the ball along the baseline, and then I'm like, I'd hit into the net several times in a row. I'm like, this is not me. I'm very consistent.
Yep.
But with this new shot, I am.
Yep.
So I do think you have to maybe have a safe environment where. Like you said, I don't know. They weren't judging me,
Right.
but I was just very kind of self-conscious. I stayed with it today, and it was
did.
great, and nobody cared. And I actually I executed some of these changes.
I thought you played great today.
Thank you.
And you're right. It's that trust.
It's the
that
trust.
faith that I trust my pro. I know that this is. There's definitely some bumps along the road, especially with the major overhaul.
Yeah.
But my eyes are on the prize. I know where it's going to get me. Right.
It'll get me there.
And
yeah.
and I'll tell you what. Like anything else in life, Michelle, when you are committed to something that was difficult to get, and it takes a while, and there were several times where you wanted to go, you know what, to hell with this. I'm cool with the way I was.
Yeah.
Right. And you fight those feelings, and you get there. It's even all the more rewarding. Right.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Nothing fantastic comes easy,
Absolutely
right?
not.
And then so
nothing worth having is
No,
easy to get.
you're right. You're absolutely right. So I got to keep telling myself that. But truly, and my goal, I want to get up to 4 or 5.
Sure.
That's my goal.
Should be.
But to get there, I'm going to move, I think, lower in the ranks.
Maybe.
And just even I love my new rackets. So those are definitely going to help me too.
Looking good makes you feel good.
Oh yeah, I know. My pink and silver racket. Yeah, I'm not even gonna care how I play. I think I just look good.
I think you did a nice job with the colors.
Thank you.
I haven't seen one like this.
Thank you. Well, no, there's not one like it.
Well, like I've seen some other custom ones, but I don't think anybody's put these two colors. Well, at least not that I've seen.
Well, no.
Addicted.
Addicted.
Awesome.
All right. I like it. So, something else I wanted to ask you about is where does, and this is a bigger question, like we're talking about Cliff Drysdale, where he was sort of the father of the two-handed backhand.
Right.
And so when I was first starting and I wasn't very consistent, and I asked a pro, I said, why do people do a two-handed backhand? And they didn't give me a great answer. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try a two-handed forehand, because there wasn't a true reason to have a two-handed backhand. So I'm like, I'm going to try that on my forehand, because why not? And it actually turned out fantastic. It was a lot more consistent. And I don't know, the fact that people weren't doing a two-handed forehand, and then they changed. Like and people weren't doing topspin, and then they started doing topspin. Like the theory and the fundamental basics of the game, it feels like have changed over time.
Oh my!
And I know that the technology has changed as well, but how do you know? Because I was thinking that, I'm like, well, shoot, people don't do a two-handed forehand, but it works, and heck, maybe everybody else will start doing this too, right? But now I've reached a point where I'm not winning as much, a plateau. But how do you know what's the right theory based on all these changes that have happened over time?
Okay,
And
so
that's a big question.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what? Because a two-handed forehand is not nearly as common as a one-handed forehand. Not even close.
Not even close.
But Ash Barty hits with the two-handed forehand.
Oh.
There was a guy named
Go Ash.
Fabrice. Fabrice Santoro. Monica Seles is the most famous double-handed forehand of all time.
Did they have topspin, or did they slice like me?
So again, you're right. The game has evolved, but I would say over the last, don't quote me on this out there, y'all, but 50-ish years, 50-ish. Topspin's been a pretty consistent mainstay in the game.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah.
and at the pros, they do it all, right? Flat,
Sure.
topspin, drive. They might rely on one more than the other.
Okay.
Steffi Graf won 22 Grand Slams and hit a slice backhand. Never hit a topspin backhand once.
Really?
All slice.
Whoa.
Only slice.
Oh, that's all I'm going to do.
You're just like Steffi. Oh, by the way, think about Andre Agassi and Steffi's kids. Like their parents together won 30 Grand Slam singles titles.
That's crazy.
that.
Oh my God.
It's like my dad.
They're like, we're going to be bowlers, so we're not going to play tennis.
My dad ran a marathon. Oh, my parents won 30 Grand Slams together.
Where do you go from there? I think that'd be so hard.
Crazy, man.
Right? If your parents are that accomplished.
I mean, she
Like,
won
oh.
22 and he won 8. I mean,
That's nuts.
just singles. But
and
anyways,
wonderful humans. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's our job as pros to, let's say that we had a young person that was just starting out.
Right.
It's our job to set their game up to perfectly play to their strengths, right? So
Okay.
it would be my call to say, hey, this I think a double-handed, but let's try that. That might be better for you.
Right. Right.
And so we
And
end up.
you've said that to me as well, like
Yeah.
because we're working on the two-handed backhand, and
Right.
then you're like, well, oh, and I did a one-handed
Mm-hmm.
backhand. You're like, oh, I like your one-handed too. So I've seen that real time where
Certainly.
you play with works best for my body
No doubt about it.
as you're watching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we said earlier, Nadal strokes look a lot different than Fed.
Yeah.
And they're basically the same size. They're about 6'1", 6'2",
Okay.
about $180, $190, right? They're the same size, but
Like you.
almost exactly the same size. That's exactly right.
Come on, Ryan. Let's get you on the toe.
I am. I went to.
Okay.
I think after this last match, my last singles. No, no. Really, I am. I was. They say Roger Federer's body is basically was built to play tennis, right?
Sure.
And so that's about right. 6'1", 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
I've gone into it quite a bit about the evolution of the body on the tour too. We're
Sure.
seeing now these 6'6" freaks like Zverev,
Ugh.
they're fast as hell still.
Amazing. Yeah.
Oh, dude. But anyways, you brought up a great point on how much our sports evolved from the get-go.
Yes. Yes.
From right down to in the 70s, up until the 70s, really, it was all serve and volley. Everything. Everybody
right.
served and volley.
Right.
So there wasn't many ground strokes. Hardly any,
Oh.
actually. They would just come in all the time. All the time.
That's nuts. Wouldn't they
singles.
get lobbed?
I mean, maybe, but it was
not
much
new.
more of a finesse game, too.
Sure.
And but no sport in my mind, Michelle, has held on to and still respected the original traditions of the sport,
Okay.
right down to Wimbledon still being all white,
I love that.
Right?
It's so cool. Yeah.
but has also evolved and changed so much from how we used to play it to how we play it now and how we teach it now.
Right. So interesting.
I'll give you another example here.
Okay.
So 90s kid, I was an 80s kid, but learned how to play in the 90s.
Okay.
This big Andre Agassi loop. They used to say, make the letter C with your racket.
Okay.
Was what was taught. Big old loop. Nowadays, they don't, and I'm on board with this too, but Fed, he goes, so strings that you're hitting with are over here.
Yeah.
Face it to the side fence, face it to the back fence, drop and drive.
Yep. That's what you teach us.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
that's progressive.
It's-
That's on the forefront of how we're teaching.
So
Racket
who-
laid, or wrist laid back.
Who leads that? I guess it's the pros. It's the
Yeah.
but it's such a big deal to do something different. Like the
doubt.
first time somebody's doing that, like, hey, that's different, that's new, right? So how do they make those innovations?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
But nobody before Nadal hit out and then circled back around their own head.
And when he's doing that, they're like, "What are you doing, you crazy dude?" Right?
still
You're gonna
gets
get it.
linked.
Yeah.
Still gets linked. He just didn't finish over this shoulder.
Yeah.
He goes around and so does Sharapova. She does it too.
Yeah.
And so you'll see every so often Cliff with the double-handed backhand. You'll see, Borg and these guys are really the first ones to try to hit some of that top spin up on the ball.
Right.
Right. And,
Right.
And just like all professional sports, everybody's trying to find that extra, be on the cutting edge, find something that hadn't quite been done that way, just like that. It's still a forehand.
Right.
But John Newcomb, who I used to work for as well, I heard him say years ago that, and he's the Cliff Drysdale of Australian ESPN, right?
Sure, sure.
So he's been commentating, watching matches for as long as, anyways. He said, I heard him say way back, 06, he said, I've seen people hit as hard as Nadal, and I've seen people hit with as much topspin, but never both at the same time. He's the first dude that hit that hard with that much spin.
Okay.
And because you got to give one to get the other usually. You're
Sure.
taking pace off the ball by brushing it a little bit.
Ah,
right? And
okay.
so, because you're not hitting flat right through it. So he was innovative when it came to that, finding a way to hit that heavy with that hard.
Right.
And back to Fed having to make his changes when nobody had challenged him like that yet.
Right.
He's got one of the best one-handers we've ever seen, but here
Right.
comes this Nadal kid who is a phenom and is equipped with this skill set. And where did he come from? And
Right.
right. And so
Yeah.
that's what happens out there. You know, there's always somebody looking to push the envelope and find something that hadn't quite been done that way that now the rest of the tour has to deal with. I think that's what it trickles
Okay.
down to us. And we start teaching our kids that way.
Sure.
And-
Yeah. Well, the way I was playing, I was thinking, oh, I'm being innovative. It's not wrong. It's innovative.
yeah. That's a good way to yeah. We're gonna
Right? Oh, maybe
Absolutely.
not.
That is a big part of our profession too, Michelle.
Yeah.
Saying the right words in the right way. You know?
That's very
Innovative of you.
That upside down windshield wiper.
I say this.
Very innovative.
I say this too a lot. Like, let's say, I don't know, somebody has an overhead, and the other person's just standing right on top of the net still, not backing up. Say, I admire your bravery. However, probably want to get back there a
Get
little
back,
bit.
or we're gonna get you a helmet.
Yeah. We're getting glasses and a helmet for sure. No, but I like that is a big question, but the game is ever evolving. The things that again, there's the core teaching principles and fundamentals that technically are correct that we have to try to strive for.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what, I encourage more of us out there, for the reasons we said today, that hold us back from making these changes.
Right.
To take that plunge, get in there, really attack something, a part of your game, because what we said, when you get there, it's so rewarding when you get there. And,
Right.
And speaking of addicting, that's addicting.
Right.
Okay, what's next? What can I do next?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And instead of living in kind of a little bit of fear and I'm just okay with what I got here. And Lord, we compare this crazy sport to life all the time, Michelle, on the podcast. And
yes.
whoever got to anywhere without taking a chance and going, I got to be a little bit vulnerable now for the long run, or I'll just be kind of happy with my whatever results.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And once again, I think it's really important taking those risks that you're surrounded by supportive humans.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's where it won't work, is if you're trying to make a change and people are saying, "Hey, we're losing because,"
Yeah, you can't keep missing. Yeah,
you keep missing.
Yep.
So no, you have to be surrounded by supportive humans to
doubt
be able
about
to make this sort of change.
We talked on Christmas Eve too about how there's really just 1 month. If you're if an avid USTA player, then you're playing pretty much every year, every month except December, right?
Right.
But then there's those little windows too. You know, they would, when we were juniors, summer was your time to do that.
Right.
You go off, you go out of school, train, go to camps, do this, right?
Sure.
That was your time to come back in the fall and show them how you had improved and what you had worked on, right?
Right.
And so.
So take those times.
Take those little pockets, those little windows that you have of off time, downtime to go, if I can hit it hard right now where I'm not playing a bunch of matches.
Right.
And build the confidence so that when I'm, let me show them what I got whenever it's time to get back in there. That's your time. But consistency, commitment, discipline, surround yourself with a supportive, where they're not a group or people or people you train with that you're right are not going to make you feel like, well, what the hell, and encourage you to revert, right?
Yeah,
And abandon.
I have such a hard time with that because when I'm taking those risks and I might lose, it's for the team, which to me feels so awful. So something I did do when I got double bumped is I went and played some tournaments, because with tournaments it's just you. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go play 4-0 tournaments and just to get my confidence up and see how I do against these 4-0 people.
Yep.
Because it's not part of a team. If I lose, I'm not hurting anybody, because I know that. I don't know, we're not playing for money,
Right.
But we are playing for those little trophies that we all love. But no, it does matter. It is important. Of course it matters. So,
We're out here competing. We want to win.
you want to win, but
You wanna do well.
You want to do well.
Yep.
And like I said, if it's for the team, to me, it adds that much more. I have a harder time taking risk to lose if there's other people involved.
No doubt.
Right? So maybe that's some advice too, is if you're going to try something new under competition and you don't want to hurt your team, go play some tournaments.
Yeah. And what could it hurt to get another match under your belt?
Yeah. Period.
I mean, the phrase I throw around all day too is nothing in tennis comes without tenure.
I mean, that's true.
So you've only been playing 7 years?
Well, I cheated a little bit.
Well,
I mean, I didn't have the tenure.
No.
And that sucked because I didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that 7 years, you're still an infant. You're still a baby in your journey.
I know. That's why I'm going to Wimbledon.
That's right.
After my 20 years.
Make that your goal,
That's
Michelle.
my goal.
100%.
Realistic.
But
yeah.
I've shared the story on here already about how tennis was the only sport up to that point, and since then, that I walked away from my first experience with it and went, I cannot be that bad at something athletically. It threw me for a loop.
That's so funny.
And I'm standing here in front of you today because of that. It made me come back and go, I've got, and it made me, it was the first sport that made me go, I can't just I can rely on natural athleticism and instinct, but that only going to get me so far.
Right.
Whereas in other sports, it took me a long way. And of course, I learned how to do in other sports properly as well. But I understood fully that no matter what kind of an athlete you are, this sport, nothing comes without tenure. You got to work hard for it.
You got to work hard.
I swear I've been coaching for 20 years, Michelle. I didn't know what I was talking about till 5 years ago. That's how I feel.
That's
at least.
amazing.
That's how I feel, right?
But I feel like everything is like that, in
Very
life,
true.
like we talked about. Yeah. Something else that's really interesting, we need to talk about Joe a little bit.
Yeah.
But he got a PhD in physics. He hated his first physics course. So I wonder if there is something a little bit in us humans where we're like, that challenging thing, you want to conquer it. And that's what I love about tennis, right? It's like, and like you said, most people lose. There's only one winner in a tournament. So that makes you just want to come back and prove it and do it again, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a crazy stat out there. And
let's hear it.
Email me if I'm off or let me know if I'm off by a number or two. But I want to say that Federer at one point reached 22 straight Grand Slam semifinals.
What?
That's 5.5 years of Grand Slams.
That's crazy.
If he entered it, he made it to at least the Final Four.
Wow.
Won several of them, of course.
Wow.
But so there wasn't one day that he was a little bit sick or a little bit off or a little sick. That just goes to show you, we're watching the three best men of all time, all at once in real time, battle for the top spots in the history of the sport, all at once. And we're watching it right now.
I'm going to go watch.
Dude.
That's amazing.
And if Andy Murray doesn't have I mean, it's amazing that this hip injuries are the death of athletes.
Oh.
The best athlete that most people will say that's ever walked the planet, Bo Jackson, ended his career early from hip problems.
Really? I didn't know that. Ooh.
He was so fast, Michelle, and so strong that he was running down, he was running back, and he was running down the sidelines, and this guy, a linebacker, grabbed onto his leg, and he was so strong and so fast that he pulled to keep going, and the force, he literally pulled his leg out of the socket.
What?
That's what ended his career.
That just sounds so painful.
Yeah.
I'm sure that guy was just joking around.
Well,
He just grabbed
his legs like anybody, but we've never seen a professional athlete with that much torque and strength still to pull away that hard.
Ooh,
yeah.
ouch.
So anyways, that's just a side
don't
note.
do that.
But
Yeah.
Don't hurt your hip.
That just sound. I just picture that in my brain. That just sounds so painful.
The quarterback for Alabama fractured that bone right here in his hip. He landed on his knee, and two defenders came on his back and literally shoved his femur up into that socket. Yeah, but
don't play football.
But anyway,
yeah.
but Andy Murray would potentially, he won 3 in that. He still won 3 despite the 3 greatest of all time battling it out for the top 3 spots.
Wow.
But anyways, I guess my point is that consistency for that long, it just sheds a light on how amazing these professional athletes we watch are. I've said it before. I believe that professional tennis players are the best athletes on the planet, not just the best tennis players.
Sure.
They're the best athletes that the world has to offer. I really believe that. To be able to do what they do, as long as they do, year in, year out on 4 different
Oh my
services,
God.
time zones, the whole nine.
It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. No,
And
it's so
so-
true. But one thing that's also there is for women,
Mm-hmm.
it's really the only sport you can really make some good money. So take your daughters out there.
That's the truth.
Get them training.
That's the truth.
Because, like the U.S. Open pays like $3.8 million to the winner.
That's the price, yeah.
What does the loser win? Like 50 grand.
Yeah. I think
Right?
if you, I think if you
mean,
lose in the first round, you get like a $30,000 check. You
Yeah.
just make it and lose.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's so much to it, and I'm sure people that have tried to go on and the gal that's training here that's trying to be going to be at the Australian Open.
That's working out in Lakeway.
Yes.
Svitolina.
Oh.
And I don't know if she's here. Oh,
Ooh. No. The one
this
that's
young lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name's Kat. I finally found her name.
Oh, Kat. Okay.
And I'm real good at this, y'all, but I'll come up with her last name by next week. Good investigation.
We'll get it. Yeah.
No, she played 4 years at UCLA. She's here training with a really top-notch coach that has worked with competitive juniors and players around the world.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten to watch her train over the last several months. She's about 250 in the world.
Okay.
And so she's really right on the. I'll have to ask because I would assume they would know at this point, but that she's trying to get into the qualifying, of course, for the Aussie Open.
Okay, well, go Kat. But I can't imagine the amount of hours she's put in and the hard work and the effort but just to put out there that, I mean, men have a lot of options with basketball, football, right? Those are huge teams where they make it a ton of money. For women, it's just tennis.
Right.
I mean, you can play golf, but it's you get paid 10% of what tennis players, professional players, or
WNBA.
basketball. Yeah. Once again, they don't make much money.
I
Even the
think-
cheerleaders in football make nothing.
Oh,
they make like minimum wage. I think they almost have
absurd.
to pay to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
bad.
those are athletes. Right? I've
doubt.
seen the cheer ladies here at Lake Travis. They are athletes.
Oh,
Oh my God.
dude, like tumblers, the acrobat, yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
I think you bring up a pretty neat point that is worth mentioning. That the playing field or the interest worldwide, the support. I don't go. Oh, I'm not going to go to this Open. Well, let me start that over. They're together. The men and the women are together.
They're together,
Throughout the. Now they play different tournaments, but of course
Sure.
the Grand Slams are all played, men and women there.
Sure.
I don't discriminate whenever I want to go see a professional tennis match. Oh, well, it's a female match, so I probably won't go
No.
do that. Where unfortunately, the let's use WNBA and the NBA as an example. There's not the drawing power for the WNBA that the NBA, which has been around for a lot longer,
Yeah,
has.
right.
Still impressive athletes, still doing.
Yeah. I've been to some of those games. They're amazing athletes, but you're right.
It's the support and it's what ownership and people are willing to put into to get out of where unfortunately with a lot of those other women's sports they don't get the same support that the men do.
Right.
And there's no discrimination in
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're all fans, male or female.
Absolutely.
Right. And so they do get that equal support that the men do.
Go Billie Jean King.
And I was about to say, one of the biggest pioneers in many different regards, and having the confidence to come forward with her own personal life and who she is, where that was, how long ago was that? Like, we've been on the cusp, we've been on the front edge way longer. Lord, there was, and again, these are some social topics we're tackling, but there's still reports of men who gay men that have played in the NFL and were afraid to come out. They're still, to this day,
What?
nobody.
No?
Yes, nobody knows.
sucks.
Because of potential whatever unfortunate backlash or something that would come with that.
Sure.
Or stigma. So yeah, Billie Jean King. How cool is that?
You know what?
Yeah.
She would be my dream guest.
Well, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do.
I'm just putting that out there into the univers.
Hey,
Yeah.
we talked about
Yeah.
putting good vibes and thoughts out there and seeing what
Billie Jean
happens.
King. Come.
Come on down to Spicewood,
Come on down to
please.
Spicewood.
Oh man,
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, that right there. I mean, there's a reason why the stadium's called Billie Jean King, and at
Big
Flushing Meadows.
effing deal. Like, to me, tennis is the only job where women get paid the same as men, and it's because of her.
It's a fantastic point.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
And pushing for that equality so long ago.
Oh,
When
yes.
when it was probably even more risky to do so.
Oh, the battle. Oh,
You
you're
know,
right. The
for them,
huge risk.
The horrible,
Oh my gosh.
what it could have meant, undeservingly, of course, but
Sure.
what it could have meant to speaking up and speaking out. What I guess backlash is the right word. That could have
Great
come,
wo-
or the
yes,
fallout that could have
yes.
come from that.
Yeah.
Man, and even like right down to her beating Bobby Riggs in the Astrodome.
Oh my
right?
God. Oh my God.
Beat a dude.
Amazing.
He was running his mouth saying, "I can beat anyone on
Yeah.
the tour."
Yeah, but you're right. Taking that risk.
Yeah.
Like, right?
I think that kind of
yeah.
sums up what we're saying today.
Yeah.
Take that. If you want to improve your game, guys, and you want those goals to be accomplished that you set out for yourself. Let's say, hell, it's January 3rd. Let's new year, new me. I want to get this done in my tennis game this year.
Right,
I want
right.
to make these changes.
Right.
I say tackle them head on, dead head on, and until you get
like
there.
it.
Instead of kind of as we've said today, kind of inching along and 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Right.
Right. And it's a lifelong sport. Why not see how much you can get out of this wonderful, maddening sport that we're addicted to? Right. Why not continue to push to see what else you can get done?
I like it.
Back to the body too, Michelle, being its own thing. It also responds. It will. Let me say this in a better way. You continue to push your body to whether it be fitter, faster, make changes, get better. When you continue to stimulate it, it continues to respond to you. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Right.
But
Great
when we
point.
become sedentary, now we all got, listen, Lord, we all have aches and pains and this and normal stuff. Father Time is undefeated, but it keeps you, if you keep it going, it'll keep you going. And continuing to push your body for those changes, I think is a very important, just for you personally as a human being and being well balanced, physically fit, best version of you.
So agree, Ryan. And you know what? And it have some grace with yourself. It doesn't come for free.
Not at all.
Like we said, the best things in life take a lot of work. I
Amen.
kind of laugh at you when you're like, I was sore for 2 days. I
Dude,
played a
it's
singles guide. My
horrible.
wife could hear me moaning. And that's you, and you're in
Straight
great
up.
shape. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
But that made you in even better shape. I'm sure it made you an even better player playing against this guy. Like if you played against him this week, I bet you'd do better than last week. You know?
Thank you for that. I
Yeah.
would like to hope to
You'd
think
beat him
so.
this week. Yeah. Yeah.
Brendan. He's a very nice young man. It just happened to be from Lake Travis as well. I'm like, oh, you played top 2 at Lake Travis. Cool, man.
Great.
Actually, totally ironic side story. That young lady, Kat, is training
yeah.
for the Aussie Open. So
Yeah.
I would often teach at a court that it was right next to them, and so I've gotten to see her play over the last several months. Well, it's ramping up time to get ready for Australia.
Oh, yeah.
So I come out the very next Monday morning to do my normal tennis.
Yeah.
And I see Kat training with her coach, and lo and behold, who's there? Brendan, the kid that I just lost. He was there helping her train.
No way.
Because Damien, who trains her, also trained him from knee high up.
No. That's
And so
amazing.
he had
I love so you're like, all right.
Follow me around, bro. No, but he was there
He's your
helping.
stalker.
And there was another
Yeah.
couple guys that,
Yeah.
that Damien had called upon to help her train.
Sure.
So I thought that was kind of funny and ironic. He's out there.
I
today.
love it.
So of course, I got to have a humble brag and tell my ladies, I'm like, see that kid down there?
Yeah, I almost beat him.
Almost beat him.
It was really close.
It was a lot closer than it looked. Okay, no, but anyways, you'll notice too the you asked me about me and changes I would make.
Yeah.
People that play tennis from an early age, that is so ingrained to them to train
Sure.
and to polish and to make changes and get better. They almost never lose it. It's a pattern that
Got
they take with
it.
them to
Right.
throughout life. And you're not wrong. That when I was crying about all my soreness to all my clients, I kept saying it's a good burn, it's a good pain,
Yeah.
because I hadn't felt that good.
Deep.
Making strides.
Yeah.
It hurts at first, but I hadn't felt that, and it did make me think, like, you know what, I need to focus more. I mean, I'm out here with you guys, and I'm constantly in motion, but you know that improving my body and it reminded me that I hadn't done enough of that, I think.
Sure.
And so I actually did get a little taste of it, and was like, and listen, half of us are gluttons for punishment when we play the sport. Right?
Oh, that's what I love about it. I'll chase that fuzzy yellow ball anywhere.
All day long.
All day long
Right.
for hours. I wouldn't work out for hours.
No,
Yeah.
and Ashley, my wife even said that. She's like, well, you could have just put in like a good enough effort to make the score look close enough. I was like, you kidding me? The competitor in me was willing to not walk off
That's
the court.
too smart, Ashley.
She's like, you could have just taken it, pulled back a little bit. Hell no.
No,
I'm still like,
no.
I wanted to win so bad.
We all get you.
Oh, man.
We all get you, Ryan.
But make those
yeah.
changes, y'all.
Yep.
Be committed, be disciplined, have a great support team and environment. I think that's huge.
Totally.
You and Joe get to, y'all take lessons together. You guys get to go out there and hit with each other. And
It is nice.
Y'all have told me, listen,
Yeah.
I thought I saw this, or you've said that to me. Okay, Joe did it really well right there. What can we remember? What can I help him remember?
Right.
What's the key word?
Right.
For his, it's that wrist layback.
Right.
Right. And
Yep,
so
yep.
so having somebody help you and having, of course, a helpful eye and continuing to focus on it until you know the difference on the old memory and the new memory.
Right.
The human body is not very obedient by nature. It wants to do its own thing. It'll
Sure.
protect you as well.
Right.
It'll do things without you commanding it to do it because things feel unsafe. I see people that when they're working on their volleys, sometimes they get their hands in here, and it's
guilty.
fetal position. It's,
Right.
It's the human
It's
body
safe.
wanting to feel safe, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so this out here might feel way scary. So
Describes my volleys. The fetal position.
it'll do its own thing.
It's
Michelle.
true,
And
yeah.
that's what happens. So fighting that. Fighting your own body, having a focus each and every time you're going to hit that ball until you don't have to.
Right.
Because the definition of instincts is when something new and learned becomes, you don't think about tying your shoes, do you? You don't go, well, I'm going to loop that
Right,
and do that.
right.
That's become instinct since forever ago. And
Sure.
so when you get to that place, you've
You've
got a
been
good grip
there.
on that new change.
And then we'll all go to Wimbledon.
Then you're going to go to Wimbledon.
Yay!
I'm telling you right now. No.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
So
This is the best podcast ever.
Also, that's for your birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday!
thank you. I like it.
Take it to Wimbledon. You will play in
I
Wimbledon,
won't be playing. But
dude. That's bucket
yeah,
list.
I'm okay.
I've never
That
made
is
it.
bucket list.
I've never made it to Wimbledon.
All right, we'll get there.
We're gonna do it one day.
I'm not worried. Let's do it. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, as always.
Yeah. Check out all of our socials. I'm going to go first. Michelle Nipko, Instagram. I did a TikTok.
Oh yeah.
It's so
How's it going?
It's so goofy. I feel like I'm trying to be a millennial. Not even a millennial. Like I'm trying to be like Dean. Dean likes all my stuff. Tell him thank you
I
for
sure
liking
will.
my stuff. I'm like, oh,
You sure will?
like, this looks kind of fun and goofy, and so I'm trying to behave like a 47-year-old, and it doesn't feel like I'm being a 47-year-old. I'm on TikTok, but hey, we also have an Addicted to Sets Facebook page.
Sure
Check
enough.
that out. So, how about your socials, Ryan?
Come find me at Vega Tennis TX on Instagram. All things me, all things tennis, all things addicted. Here, podcast me. Find me at our Vega Tennis on Facebook.
Yep.
And of course, I'm involved with you as well on the Addicted to Sets, I guess on Facebook. But come follow, come like, come
Yeah.
check it out. We're always, especially with the TikTok and our YouTube page.
Oh, YouTube.
Go to our Addicted
Go
to Sets
to our Addicted to Sets
YouTube page. So
subscribe.
we have
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and not just the podcast, but we have tips on tennis right on there,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to continue to build that and have new and
Cool
different things we
things.
can add on there.
Yeah.
So reach out to us.
And we also have a website, addictedtosets.com, and the Lake Cliff Racket
Racket Club.
Club.
Okay.
Come join us for our podcast drill,
That's exactly right.
which we're doing at 2 o'clock.
And and with Cliff, stay tuned because we'll have Cliff on next week.
I know.
And, I guess that's just in a few days. Isn't
That's
it?
just in a few days. We won't publish it till the weekend, though,
That's right.
which is, I don't know if I can wait that long, but we'll see how that goes.
Moral
We're
of the
not and publish.
moral of the story, and it's the perfect time of the year to talk about this. Take a look at your game. Be honest with yourself,
Yes.
and embrace change.
Embrace change.
Tackle it head on.
It's a great time to do it.
Yeah, it's beginning of the year. We've all told ourselves we got these things we want to do. Add fill in the blank for what you want to do in your game.
We got faith in you. You
no
can
doubt
do
about
it.
it.
Come to
Everybody-
Wimbledon with us.
That's right. Everybody
Yeah.
can, and that's what I said earlier. There's only one guarantee in this game that is so many variables and so many uncertainties, and that is hard work pays off. If you keep at it, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee it. If nothing else, you get a fabulous workout. Exactly. And a good tan.
Kick-ass leg burn. What happened to me?
All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks for showing.
Bye.
Bye-bye.